few weeks ago, a major telecommunications company accidentally cut a fiber optic cable in Egypt. This caused an internet outage. It affected 3.6 million people, or around 3% of the country's population. It wasn't a huge deal at first, because the outage only lasted for around 6 hours. But it got a lot of people thinking about what would happen if the internet went down for longer. What if the internet just disappeared forever? Would society collapse? Could we even function without it? So the answer to both of those questions is yes, but not without some serious growing pains. We actually did have a real-life experiment with this in 2019 when a submarine internet cable was cut between Australia and New Zealand. The outage lasted for almost a week and gave us some clues as to how we would cope if the internet went down for good.
So let's assume the worst.
All of the cables, satellites, and wireless networks that make up the internet just stopped working all at once and stayed that way. No more Google, no more YouTube, no more Instagram, no more Amazon, no more eBay, no more Wikipedia, no more online banking, no more social media. The first thing people would notice is how quiet the world would be. There would be no more ambient noise from videos, music, or podcasts playing in the background. Some people might actually find this peaceful at first, but it would quickly become eerie. Pretty soon, everyone would realize that something was wrong. People would try to call their friends and family, but they wouldn't be able to get through. Phone companies would quickly become overwhelmed by the amount of traffic. Their systems were only designed to handle a small percentage of the population making calls at once, not everyone. Within a few hours, people would start panicking. They'd head to the shops to buy food and other supplies, but everything would quickly run out. Food banks would become overwhelmed by demand, and many people would be left hungry. Without the refrigeration and transport systems that we rely on today, food shortages would quickly cause chaos. Farmers wouldn't be able to sell their produce, and the supply trucks wouldn't be able to distribute it. Even if the food made it to the shops, people wouldn't have any money to buy it. Without internet banking, a TMS would be useless, and people would be unable to buy anything. Credit card machines would also stop working. As the days went on, the fighting would begin. People would be willing to do anything to get food for themselves and their families. They might ransack supermarkets and stores, and violence would quickly erupt. Within a few days, the country would descend into anarchy. Government officials would desperately try to restore order, but there would be no way of coordinating an effective response. No internet or phone lines meant that emergency services couldn't communicate. Hospitals would be overrun by patients, and ambulances would be unable to get in or out. Doctors and nurses would be forced to ration food and other supplies. In the following weeks and months, martial law would be declared, and soldiers would be sent onto the streets to restore order. But it would be too late. The damage would already have been done. Whole communities would be wiped out by starvation and disease. Without modern medicine, even a mild illness could be enough to kill you. And most people had no idea how to grow their own food. Those who did survive would be forced to live in constant fear of attack. Without GPS or mobile phones, people couldn't easily travel and roads would become impassable. Most vehicles would be unable to move and mass public transport would cease to exist. Planes would be grounded and ships would be unable to navigate. The world would become a much more dangerous place without the internet. Many people would wish they could just go back to living in the Stone Age, but things wouldn't necessarily be totally bad. After the chaos and destruction, humanity would eventually rebuild itself. People would go back to basics and learn how to grow their own food and take care of themselves. Families would be forced to stick together and help each other. They would become stronger and more resilient as a result. It sounds crazy, but some experts actually think that this scenario could play out sooner than we think. In 2014, the World Economic Forum published a report warning about the risks of total internet blackout. They estimated that a worldwide internet outage could cause around $7 trillion in damages. But the most alarming statistic was that it could take up to 10 years to restore connectivity after an extreme internet disruption. But here's the good news. It doesn't look like the internet is going anywhere anytime soon. So we can all relax and enjoy the great privilege of living in the 21st century. Or maybe you should watch this video next. Why has nobody invented the time machine yet? Or watch this video instead. How would you survive the zombie apocalypse?